Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. And we are in this podcast, The Jar, episode 3. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into this. If you saw the title of this video, then you probably already have a good idea of what I'm going to talk about. And so I just want to jump right into it. When I was a kid, I was what you would say, quote unquote, bad in school. And the presenting issue that I had, and this was the biggest issue in my home life and in at school, and pretty much the same to this day. When I did not want to do something, I would not do it. And so that caused a lot of problems in school because a lot of times the teachers would give me work to do and I just didn't want to do it. And so I spent a lot of time in ISS. I would act up. I was never like a bad kid, like violent or anything like that. I was always in trouble because I just didn't want to do my work. And I was, the class clown. I wanted to be everyone's friend. And so finally, one of my mom's friends told her, "Hey, you should really see if your son has maybe a disability or something for bad kids." That's what it was called over 20 years ago, and I'm 30 now. And so my mom, sure enough, took me to the psychiatrist, and it was found out that I had ADHD as a kid. And so the thing about that is my mom was an immigrant mother, so she didn't know what these mental illnesses was. All she knew is that I was acting up in school and we needed a way to figure this out, right? And so what happened is the psychiatrist gave recommended medication, but as life goes on, you kind of forget that you even have ADHD. And so I think I took medicine for like a year and then I grew out of it, right? Or so I did, right? And so this is where the story starts, right? With me and my journey with like ADHD. It started when I was a kid, okay? And so I just realized I didn't have a timer on, so I'm gonna try and make this good for you guys, okay? And so I kind of fell off of taking medication or doing all the things that you should be doing when you have ADHD, which is learning skills, taking medication, doing all the things you should be doing, right? To manage it, right? And so I'm here today to really talk to you, to tell you what that meant for me in my life. And what that manifested for me in my life was I had a really hard time at school. I'll never forget when I was in college, I was taking this accounting class. And I really, really, really wanted to pass the class. I studied the book, I Google searched the material, and I really tried to like learn it, but it just wasn't getting through to me. I didn't realize that there's a very specific way that you have to learn things when you have ADHD. And so I was a business major and I had to take accounting. And looking back on it, like I can tell you and I can look at you in the eye and tell you that I gave it my honest shot, a good effort try, and I was still failing the class. And so finally, I wish I could stand here and tell you guys that I hunker down, but I didn't. I cheated. I did what everyone else did, but I did because I needed to survive, and I was paying for these classes, and it was like $1,000, and so I did what everyone I did. And back in those days, I went to Quizlet and found the exam. But what I'm saying is before I even resorted to that, is that I really tried to like learn the material on my own so I could retain it, and it was. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm a little scatterbrained today. I'm just be honest with you guys. So anyway, I passed the class, but it was always me giving a good effort try, but I just couldn't get it. So I had to develop ways to pass classes, right? And I know some of you are gonna be judging me and be like, you douchebag, you're not supposed to cheat, but I'm just keeping it real with you. I had to pass because I was paying $1,000 a semester for one class. It was too much. You know what I mean? And so that's what that meant for me at school. It meant I really struggled a lot. And not because I didn't want to learn the subject, but because it just wasn't getting through. The second thing is it showed up in my friendships. I felt like looking back on a lot of friendships in my early years, they were very one-sided because when you have ADHD, you want to be loud and happy and friendly and sociable with everyone because you don't want to get rejected. It's called RSD, rejection sensitivities. I forgot what the D stands for. But anyway, I was I developed the skill of being sociable. And now I'm 30, I think I'm starting to realize that I might be an introvert. I'm just really good socially, right? I can talk to you, blah blah blah. But after a while I'm just kind of tired. But for years I thought I was an extrovert, you know what I mean? And so it developed me being this person that was always friendly. That's probably why I was in real estate, probably why I did politics, probably why, because I was constantly searching for that validation and approval and being ultra scared of being rejected. And I hated that. To this day, I still struggle with it in truth. And so that's one of the things. The third thing is like jobs, man. I struggled so hard in jobs, right? Which is kind of like the reason that I launched into real estate at the age that I did, which is the reason why it prompted all of this testing now, right? And so it showed up in my professional life in the fact that when you work at a job, at a neurotypical job, which is regular people that don't have ADHD, they would always assume that I was being lazy or that I didn't really want to do the work or that I just didn't want to do it, right? And so finally, I would always get in trouble at all these jobs, right? I would always get in trouble. Gabriel, you're not doing your work on time. And it's just that if I didn't want to this day, that same pattern, if I just didn't find it interesting or if I didn't want to do it and wound up with the same issue. So think about it. You're going through school, through jobs, through friendships. So this ADHD has been something that has been like a ghost haunting me the most of my life. And me not even being aware of it, right? And so we're here today, right? So for most of you that have been following me for a while know that I about a year ago, actually a year ago on the dot, I left real estate. And it's been a very hard journey. And so I got a job, right? And this is the reason I honestly got tested. Number one, I was like, well, I think it's probably a good idea to get tested, right? And then I started working in this tech job, right? And then I started noticing that I would not do my work sometimes at my job, but it wasn't because I was trying to be malicious and not do it, but it's because when you have ADHD, it becomes harder to initiate and finish tasks. And so this is why I decided to get diagnosed. This is what broke it all. At my job, they started kind of getting on to me, right? About, hey, Gary, you got to turn this in, blah, blah, blah. And they started like documenting emails, sending follow-up emails like, hey, this is a list of what we talked about. And I said, oh, hell no. I know exactly how this game is played. So finally, I went on ChatGPT and I looked up to see how are ways that you can get tested for ADHD. And the thing is, if you have ADHD, you don't even need a test to tell. You just know because you just, like I said, it's impacting all of these major areas of your life and you're seeing the symptoms. And so I asked ChatGPT, where could I go and get tested at an affordable rate, right? And this is not a sponsored video or anything. But I went to this website called Mentality, formerly ADHD Online. I still think you can search it up that way, ADHD Online. And basically, it's a exam that you take to determine if you have ADHD. The exam took me like 2 hours. Like, man, no, maybe like an hour and a half, but it was like an intense exam. Like, I had to give really meaningful answers. And so what happens is you take the exam, you got to write out all your answers, and then a psychologist or a psychotherapist looks at it and determines the diagnosis. But here's the fun fact: when I'm taking this exam, I'm kind of scared. I'm like, man, what if I just and by the way, the exam is like $200. It's $189. Really good. But when I'm taking the exam, I'm thinking to myself like, fudge. What if I paid for this and it turns out I don't have ADHD? I'm just lazy. Can you imagine that? Like, I'm just lazy. But anyway, I answered it. I separated time where I was calm, cool, and collected, and I didn't finish all in one shot. I had to do it like in pieces because it was so long. But I sat down and before I did it, I had to write down an intention as for why did I decide to take this exam, and it was because I knew that people at my job, like my supervisor and stuff like that, they were not going to understand my situation unless I had documented proof. And my manager had already kind of told me that, get your ADHD paperwork in. And I think when he told me that, he didn't really think I was going to turn it in. You know what I mean? I don't think he really thought that I was going to turn it in. I think he thought that it was just something I was making up. And I was like, hell no. But the main reason that I took it was because I needed to give myself peace of mind with my employer, right? And the good thing about living in America, we have what is called ADA accommodations, right? It's the Americans with Disabilities Act passed by President Lyndon B. Johnson. And it affords certain Americans that have disabilities certain rights in the workplace. And so I decided to take it because I needed to give myself that peace of mind, because and I want you to hear this, when you're working somewhere and you don't feel like you have certainty that you'll have a job in like a week or two, that creates a burdensome amount of stress, because you're like, oh my God, did I get all my work done? And you're kind of struggling, you're figuring out if you're about to get in trouble, if you're about to get written up. And so the intention was, I needed to create stability for myself. I needed to give myself peace of mind. Because when you have ADHD, people don't realize this, but you are putting in twice the effort, sometimes to only get half of the results. And so I decided to take it. And I feel like I'm a little scattered everywhere, you guys. Please forgive me. I got a lot of things in my mind, but I forget, once I got the results back, they were like, okay, you're ADHD F90.2, whatever that means. And when I submitted it to my job, right, so you pay for the exam and then you got to pay for them to write you a letter, right? And I requested 2 accommodations, you guys. I requested extra time to complete tasks and time to like kind of outline all of the training, because in tech, things are constantly changing, right? And so, but I did it because I wanted peace of mind. I wanted to create that stability for me. I'm not saying that the job is creating stability, because they can hire and fire you at will, right? But I needed to give myself that runway to be able to work, to be able to be a creative, to be able to give myself that stability. And like I said, it's not the job that's giving me stability. My internal world is what's giving me stability, right? And so I just want to make sure I talk to everything. So I decided to get it because I wanted to create safety and stability in my nervous system, because I have ADHD, okay? And so I wanted some protections with my employer because I had ADHD, obviously, for sure. And so moving forward, what does this mean for me? Well, moving forward, and in conclusion, right? Moving forward, it's me making a conscious decision to work with the brain and the mind that I've been given. For too long, I struggled in systems and in friendships and in jobs that were not really aligned with the way my mind works. And so my intention was, in essence, to kind of pick up where my parents, where my mom left off. And so you see, now the tables have turned. Now I am the adult. And I have the inner child within me. And so now it's my responsibility to pick up the baton, pick up the ball, pick up the child where my parents left off. And it wasn't because they were mean, they were bad, or they were anything. They just didn't have the capacity or the tools or even the knowledge to even do some of these things. And so my intention is now to work with my mind, work from a place of alignment. And the reality is, if you have ADHD, or if you're just figuring out that you have ADHD for the first time, you're going to figure out that the world was not designed for people like us with the way our minds work. You know what I mean? It was not designed for us. And so we have to build tools and systems and connect with people that are like-minded with us. And so that's actually why I am in this room I'm in today. I'm actually in Austin. I came for what is called a neurodiversion conference. Well, that's the name of the conference. And they're not endorsing me. I'm just sharing you guys my experience. But I'm here today. My intention coming here is to pick up where my parents left off, to take care of myself. And so I don't know what this looks like for me. I don't know what the future holds. All I know is, man, I've met some really incredible people. I think probably brilliant minds. And I think that the key here is to just kind of work on that momentum, work on that. So I want to encourage you, if you're finding out that you have ADHD for the first time, start creating the tools, start figuring it out, learn how your mind works, observe how it works, and do what works for you. I think that's been one of the biggest themes, is that ADHD is like an umbrella term, right? And there's other disorders, as they call them, right? But you have to figure out what works for you. And so far, it's been such a blessing to be here with other people that have had similar life struggles. So in conclusion, if you're finding this video for the first time, I am out here on the outskirts of it, right? Of learning what it is to work my mind, work with my mind, connecting with the right people. And it's a little intimidating, it is, and it's all like everything's going to be an investment, right, of your time, your energy but I want to have a great life. Simply as that. I want to have a great life with great people, with great experiences, with great love, right? And you have to do the work of picking up where your parents left off. It might not have been your fault, but now it's your responsibility. So I don't know how long this video is. I hope it's long enough. I'm going to share with you guys the website that I went. I'm not recommending it to you guys. I'm not a licensed psychologist or therapist. It's just a video, just sharing what I use. You could go and find your own thing, okay? I want to say this in conclusion, just like my third conclusion. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know what your thoughts were, if you were diagnosed with ADHD, what has your experience been like? And yeah, I'm curious to know, what's it been like for you? And so anyway, love you guys. See you guys. I got to go take a shower because I got to go to the conference. And part 2 of this video will be me showing you guys the conference and giving you guys a recap. See you guys.